My beloved child, before you could even discern the rhythm of what is unfolding around you, I was already there, surrounding you with an unshakable presence. You may think you have been placed in the midst of a battle beyond your strength, but I tell you truthfully, there has not been a single moment in which you were left unattended. I do not stand outside merely observing. I am within the very space where you breathe. Within every movement you perceive as chaos, as it is written that God is a refuge and strength, an ever-present help in times of trouble. Even when your eyes cannot yet see, my arms are still holding you back from the waves that seek to overwhelm you. What you call confusion, I call a divine ordering in motion. What you call pressure, I see as the hands shaping something greater than you can yet fully understand. And as you lift your gaze, you will gradually realize that what stands against you is not your true enemy, but a reflection of what I have planted deep within your soul. Darkness cannot produce light, it trembles when light appears. Each time you stand firm instead of giving way, each time you choose trust rather than surrender to fear, you are allowing what I have placed within you to become more visible. That light does not require your effort to create it. It has already been established. And as it has been declared that the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it, you need only remain in me, and the light will spread on its own. You do not need to strive to prove your worth. You need only remain where I have positioned you. And what is true will reveal itself. There will be moments when you question why the path grows more difficult instead of easier. But I want you to understand this deeply. Not everything that feels smooth is a sign of the right direction, and not every resistance is a sign of error. It is precisely when you draw nearer to what I have appointed that you will more clearly feel the opposing pull, not because you are lost, but because you are approaching something of value. Doors without meaning do not require protection. Only those that lead to treasure are carefully guarded. And you, my child, are standing before such a door that does not open to the superficial, but to those who have been refined in steadfastness. Remember the story of Joseph, whom I placed within a dream from his youth. When I revealed his future, his path did not immediately turn to glory. Instead, he was sold, misunderstood, and imprisoned. If seen only through human eyes, it appeared as a series of compounded failures. Yet in those places that seemed darkest, I was preparing him for a position he was not yet able to carry without that process. When the appointed time came, Joseph was not only delivered, but elevated to preserve many lives during famine. Just as it is written that God works all things together for good for those who love him. Do you see? What I do does not always resemble what you expect, but it always leads to an outcome far beyond what you can imagine. So do not rush to conclusions about your journey because of a few uneven stretches. Do not allow difficult moments to make you question the direction I have placed within your heart. The right path is not the one without trials. It is the path on which, through every trial, you become more steadfast, more profound, and closer to me. When you feel pressed, remember that a seed must endure the weight of the soil in order to sprout. When you feel stretched, understand that I am enlarging your capacity so that you may carry something greater. And in all these things, I do not require you to be perfect. I do not ask you to be strong in the way you think strength should look. I only desire that you remain near me. Keep your heart tender, and not let go of your faith. For as it is written that my power is made perfect in weakness, it is precisely when you feel insufficient that I have the greatest room to act with power. You are not disqualified by your limitations. You are being formed through the very places you once thought were your weaknesses. Listen carefully to what I say to you today. What surrounds you has not come to block you, but to confirm you, not to push you away, but to prove that you are drawing near, not to make you afraid, but to reveal that what lies ahead is worthy of all that you are enduring. You do not need to overcome everything by your own strength. You only need to keep walking in trust. And each door will open at the appointed time. So, my beloved child, walk with eyes no longer veiled by fear, but illuminated by truth. Let your heart rest in me, even when circumstances have not yet changed. For I am working without ceasing, within every small detail you do not notice. And when you look back, you will realize that nothing was meaningless. Nothing was wasted. Everything has been a piece in the design I set for your life, long before you ever knew it. My beloved child, keep your heart steady in the midst of movements that seem intense. For not every noise carries truth, and not every shaking brings destruction. I am teaching you to recognize my voice among countless others, so that you are not swept away by whispers of fear or doubt. When you choose to stand in faith rather than retreat, you are stepping into a depth you have never known before. As it is written, that those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall rise up with wings like eagles. So your steadfastness is not striving, but a resting upon a source of strength that never runs dry. And I tell you truthfully, there is no battle you enter for which I have not already prepared a way out. There is no season you walk through for which I have not already set the outcome. You may feel pressure closing in from many sides, but do not mistake this as a sign of failure. It is within that pressing that what I have placed in you is being shaped more clearly. When you do not give up, when you continue to hold a trusting heart in the midst of what is not yet revealed, you are becoming stronger day by day. As it is written, blessed is the one who perseveres under trial. For after being tested, that one will receive the crown of life. So understand that what awaits you is not exhaustion, but confirmation. You are not merely passing through a phase, you are being transformed. And within this transformation, I am opening your eyes to see what the world cannot give. Not an image formed to please your imagination, but a spiritual reality being placed upon you. I show you a crown not fashioned from material things, but formed of living light. It is not given for decoration, but for marking. Every ray that shines from it carries something I have carefully prepared and entrusted to you, peace that is not shaken by circumstances, an authority that does not need to argue for validation, the ability to see beyond appearances to discern what is true, a sensitivity to what others cannot perceive, and a strength that remains unshaken even in fierce winds. As it is written that the Lord gives strength to his people and blesses them with peace. What you carry is not something you have built for yourself, but a gift that comes from me. Remember the story of David when he was still a small shepherd. When he stood before Goliath, he did not wear the king's armor, nor did he take up what others believed was necessary. He stepped forward with what I had already placed within him, a steadfast faith and a deep knowing that victory does not belong to human strength, but to God. And as it is written that the battle belongs to the Lord, a single small stone in the hand of one who trusts accomplished what an entire army could not. Do you see? What I have given you may not resemble the patterns of the world, but it is always sufficient for what I am calling you to step into. So do not compare yourself to others, and do not seek validation from outside. What I have placed upon you is already enough to fulfill your purpose. When you pass through this season, you will no longer be the one who once feared or wavered. You will walk with a deep understanding that every trial has not come to break you, but to make you stand more firmly. You will no longer move like one who is being pressed, but like one who is sent carrying a light that no darkness can extinguish, because that light does not come from you, but from me who lives within you. Therefore, open your heart not only to hear, but to receive. Do not let what I am revealing pass by as a fleeting thought. but hold it as a living reality already at work within your life. When you believe what I speak, you do not merely change your thinking, you transform the way you walk. And from that place, you will realize that you are no longer someone merely trying to get through, but someone being led to accomplish. Everything you are going through is not an ending, but a doorway into a new chapter where you stand in affirmation, live in peace, and walk in the authority I established for you long before you became aware of it. My beloved child, do not draw back simply because your heart is trembling. There are movements within you that are not signs of danger, but signs that you are touching something greater than yourself. As you draw near to the place I have prepared, your soul cannot remain indifferent as before. It awakens. It recognizes, and that recognition carries a gentle trembling unfamiliar to you. But I tell you, do not fear that feeling. It has not come to make you hesitate, but to let you know that you are stepping into something meaningful. As it is written that a person plans their course, but the Lord directs their steps. That trembling is not confusion, but the soul's response to walking in the right path. And understand this more deeply. Every true warrior has trembled when first encountering what they were entrusted with, not because they lacked ability, but because they began to perceive the weight of their calling. That trembling, if you listen to me, will no longer remain an undefined fear. It will become awakening. It will open your eyes to see more clearly, sharpen your hearing, and enable you to govern yourself rather than be carried away by emotion. As it is written that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. What you are sensing is not meant to weaken you, but to bring you into readiness. Remember Gideon, who hid himself in a secluded place when I called him a mighty warrior. He did not see himself as strong, nor did he believe he was enough. Doubt made him hesitate, and fear caused him to withdraw. Yet I did not call him according to how he felt. I called him according to what I had already placed within him. And when he began to move forward, even while his heart still trembled, that weakness no longer served as a chain, but became the very foundation for a victory that no one could explain by human strength. As it is written, not by might nor by power, but by the Spirit of the Lord. So you can see I do not wait for you to be perfect before I use you. I use the very journey you walk through to reveal my power. So do not let the waves before you cause you to panic, nor let the feelings within you lead you to doubt yourself. These things have not appeared to destroy you, but to awaken you. When you stand in the place I have appointed, everything around you may seem more intense. But that is not because you are wrong, it is because you are right. As it is written that the Lord is your light and your salvation, you do not need to fear anything that stands before you. My presence within you is greater than anything you see on the outside. My child, look carefully again. You are not being swept into a chaotic battle beyond control. You are standing within a moment that has been prepared beforehand. Every step you take, every trial you face, every emotion you experience, all of it rests within my hands. I am not distant. Observing from afar, I am present within the very moment you are living. As it is written that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted. Even when you feel most fragile, I am closest to you. Therefore, stand firm. My child, not by your own strength, but by your trust in me. Let your trembling be transformed into awareness. Let fear be turned into wisdom. And let every step you take become a response to my calling. As you continue to move forward, you will realize that you no longer walk as one who is uncertain, but as one who understands where they are and why they are there. And from that place, you will not merely overcome, you will step in, stand firm, and fulfill what I have already appointed for your life. My beloved child, learn to see what is happening around you through eyes that I have enlightened. Do not hastily assign it a false meaning based only on your initial feelings. You once thought that difficulty was a sign of error, that if you were on the right path, everything would become easy. But I tell you this with unchanging truth: it is precisely when you step rightly into what I have ordained that resistance begins to reveal itself clearly. When you remain still, when you do not move forward or reach toward what I have called you into, darkness has no need to respond. But when your soul begins to align with the purposes of heaven, when you draw near to a new door, your environment will no longer remain as it was. As it is written, resist the enemy and it will flee. So your resistance is not found in loud actions, but in an unshakable standing within the place I have set you. And in that standing, I want you to walk with alertness, not out of fear, but out of deep awareness. For what approaches you does not always come in forms that are easily recognized. It does not always attack the major foundations you have built, but slips quietly into the places you consider small, the corners you think are insignificant, a passing thought carrying a shadow of doubt, a weariness without clear cause, a subtle hesitation you cannot explain. These are the small doors the enemy seeks to open. Yet you do not need to live in anxiety, for nothing occurs outside my sight. As it is written that he who watches over Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Every movement, even the smallest, I see clearly. Remember the story of Elijah when he had just come through a great victory over the prophets of Baal. He had seen fire fall from heaven, had witnessed my power revealed in a clear and undeniable way. Yet immediately afterward, at the sound of a single threat, his heart sank and he fled in fear. It was not because he lacked faith, but because a moment of weariness opened a door for discouragement. But I did not leave him in that state. I came not through wind or earthquake, but through a gentle whisper, and there I restored him, reminding him of who he was and who I am. Do you see? Even those who have once stood firm can be affected by small things if they are not watchful. Yet I always come to lift up, not to condemn. So, my child, do not let passing waves of emotion cause you to forget the foundation upon which you stand. When you feel weak, it is not the end. It is the place where I begin to act more clearly. When you feel uncertain, it is not failure. It is an invitation for you to lean more deeply into me. When you feel weary, it is not a sign that you should give up. It is a reminder that you must return to me to be renewed. As it is written that my power is made perfect in weakness. The very place where you believe you are not enough becomes the place where I reveal that I am enough. I am right beside you, not distant, not removed. My hand upon you is not to hold you back, but to steady you so you can stand. My presence is not a distant idea, but a living reality surrounding you every moment. You are not fighting alone, not walking in isolation, not facing these things by your own strength. Each time you rise after a moment of wavering, each time you choose trust over fear, each time you remain faithful in what is not yet clear, you are partnering with what I am doing within you. Therefore, continue forward. My child, do not draw back because you feel pressure, and do not doubt simply because you do not yet understand. You are standing in a place I have prepared, and nothing that is happening lies outside my intention. As you move through this season, you will no longer see things as you once did. You will come to recognize that what seemed like attacks did not come to destroy you, but to reveal the strength I had already placed within you. And from that place, you will no longer live as one shaken by circumstances, but as one established in truth, knowing that I am always with you, always guiding you, and always bringing to completion what I have begun in you. My beloved child, hold this within your heart like a flame, carefully guarded. Not every light endures if it is not sustained. You may carry a lamp in your hand. You may once have burned brightly, but if you neglect the oil within, that light will gradually fade without you realizing it. As in the story of the 10 virgins, some carried lamps, but did not prepare oil. And when the night grew deep, their light diminished, yet the wise kept oil with them. So even as time stretched on, their flame did not go out. Do you see? The lamp does not sustain itself. It requires care. It requires replenishing. And it requires perseverance. That oil is the closeness between you and me. It is the place where you open your heart, where I breathe life into your soul, where the light not only ignites, but is sustained. Therefore, in this season, I am not only calling you to shine, but to shine with clarity and purpose. Light is not meant to scatter aimlessly, but to guide, to illuminate the path, to reveal what is true in the midst of what is unclear. I place my hand upon the flame within you, not to let it burn according to fleeting emotion, but to shape it, to order it, and to direct it according to my design. As it is written that God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. The light that comes from me always carries clarity. It does not confuse your mind, nor lead you astray. When you abide in me, your light does not merely shine, it knows where to shine. But listen deeply to this, for this is where many lose their alertness without even realizing it. What comes to you in this time does not always appear in a form that is easily recognized as harmful. It does not arrive like a storm to make you guard yourself, but like a gentle breeze that draws little attention. It does not cause immediate alarm, but leads you to delay, little by little. It does not tell you to walk away from me, but whispers that you can slow down, that you can put things off, that you can rest for a while and return later. And within those moments that seem harmless, the flame begins to weaken. As it is written, watch and pray so that you do not fall into temptation. For what is dangerous does not always come from what is great, but from what is small and overlooked. Remember the story of Samson, who was given extraordinary strength, yet did not lose it in a single great battle, but through small compromises over time. It was not one moment that brought him down, but many moments in which he loosened his vigilance, allowing what seemed insignificant to enter. In the end, what was great was lost, not because he lacked strength, but because he no longer guarded what had been entrusted to him. Do you see? You do not need to face a storm to lose your light, a series of small delays. A few moments of neglect can cause the flame to slowly fade. But I do not speak this to make you afraid. I speak so that you may understand that you are not left alone in the midst of these things. I am here, right beside you, my eyes never leaving you. When you feel yourself slowing down, I remind you. When you grow weary, I lift you. When you notice the flame weakening, I am ready to breathe upon it again. You do not have to carry everything by yourself. You only need to return, and I will do the rest. As it is written, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. So every time you turn your heart toward me, the distance is immediately closed. Therefore, my child, keep oil within your heart. Nurture your relationship with me, not out of obligation, but out of genuine longing. Do not allow the whispers of delay to pull you away from the source of life. Choose to return to me, even when you feel tired, even when you have few words to say, for it is in that simplicity that I renew you. And as you continue to keep the flame, you will not only be one who carries light, but one who is led by it, a light that does not wander, does not fade, and cannot be consumed by any darkness. My beloved child, If you have sensed that your heart has not been as still in recent days, do not be quick to fear that you are weakening. There are movements within the soul that are not signs of decline, but evidence that you are drawing nearer into oneness with me. When the rhythm within you begins to align with the rhythm of heaven, you will no longer feel smooth in the old way. Instead, there will be waves of emotion, thoughts that seem without clear origin, subtle yet persistent stirrings. You may think it is disorder, but I tell you truthfully, it is an intersection, a place where you are being adjusted, and because you are drawing nearer, there are unseen forces that seek to interfere and disrupt that alignment. As it is written, watch and pray so that you do not fall into temptation. So the alertness I desire in you is not a tense vigilance over everything, but a clear awareness of what draws you closer to me and what pulls you away from the peace I have placed within your heart. Observe carefully, my child, for what distracts you does not always come in forms that are large or frightening. It does not need to be loud to have influence. At times, a single small detail is enough to shift you away from the inner flow. A message arriving at the wrong moment that weighs upon your heart. A memory you thought was closed, yet suddenly returns. Or a passing thought that lingers longer than it should. These do not appear dangerous, yet they can quietly steal your focus. But do not be afraid, for I do not lead you in uncertainty. I do not call you into a strained vigilance, but into an ever-deepening clarity. I am teaching you to discern by the Spirit, not by the mind alone. Remember the story of Mary and Martha. When I came into their home, Martha was occupied with many tasks, while Mary chose to sit at my feet and listen. Martha did not do wrong, yet her heart was divided by many concerns, while Mary chose what was better to remain in my presence. As it is written that Mary chose the better portion, and it would not be taken from her. You can see that what sustains you is not how much you accomplish, but how near you remain to me. Distraction does not always come from what is evil. At times, it comes from what appears necessary, yet draws you away from the center where I am waiting for you. Therefore, my beloved child, I am leading you into a deeper place, a place where you do not only pray with words, but live in a continuous state of connection. It is no longer just moments when you pause to speak with me, but your entire life becomes an unbroken flow of my presence. As you learn to abide in this, you will no longer be easily pulled away by external influences. A foreign thought will find no place to cling. A sudden emotion will no longer dominate you, because you are anchored in something far more stable. As it is written, abide in me, and I will abide in you. So the peace you seek is not found in removing all disturbances, but in remaining in me within every disturbance. I do not promise you a journey without external noise. I promise you an inner presence strong enough to keep you steady regardless of what occurs. And as you continue to walk in this awareness, you will begin to discern what comes from me and what does not through tension, but through clarity. So be at peace. My child, what you are sensing is not confusion, but a sign that you are being aligned. Do not run from the movements within you. Bring them to me. Do not allow small disturbances to make you question the greater journey I am leading you through. You are not abandoned in the midst of these things. I am present within them with you, teaching you, guiding you, and holding you in a peace that cannot be shaken. My beloved child, allow your heart to become still for a moment and recognize what I am whispering in the depths. Not everything that appears right belongs to your appointed time. There are opportunities that come with reasonable appearances, even bearing the form of something good. Yet, if they are not within the season I have set, they will become burdens rather than blessings. You may feel drawn to them because they do not resemble obvious mistakes. They awaken a sense that you must seize them immediately, that you must act at once or lose something valuable. But I tell you with unshakable certainty, what I have prepared for you cannot be stolen by time, nor lost simply because you choose to wait in obedience. Therefore, when you feel the urge to act immediately, pause and discern its source. Faith does not drive you into haste, it settles you into a steady rest. It is fear that makes you rush, convincing you that if you do not act now, you will be left behind. But my child, I am not one who arrives too late. As it is written, I go before you, leveling the rough places, breaking down bronze doors and shattering iron bars. So you are not called to force doors open by your own strength. You are called to stand in the right place at the right time. And when I open, no power can shut it. When you strive to make your own way, you will feel the weight of pressure. But when you wait for me to act, you will walk in a peace beyond explanation. Remember the story of Abraham and Sarah when they received the promise of a child. Time passed, and the promise seemed unfulfilled. And in that waiting, they tried to help bring it about in their own way. Yet what was born from that haste did not bring peace, but carried consequences that endured. However, when the appointed time came, according to my word, Isaac was born not through human effort, but through my faithfulness, as it is written that every promise of God is fulfilled in its proper time. You can see what I do does not require your pushing, it requires your trust. So, my beloved, guard your heart against haste, disguised as responsibility or opportunity. Not every open door is my invitation, and not every silence is a denial. There are times when I remain still, not because I am inactive, but because I am preparing something greater than you can see. As it is written, those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. So your waiting is not stagnation, it is alignment. My child, learn to recognize the sign of peace. When a decision comes from me, it does not throw you into panic, nor push you into racing against time. It carries a quiet certainty, a steady calm, even when circumstances have not yet changed. That is the sign you are walking rightly. But when something robs you of peace, stretches your heart, and makes you feel you must act immediately to hold on, you must pause, not because it is necessarily wrong, but because it may not yet be your time. And if there are moments when you feel you have stepped off course, do not let that bring fear. No misstep is permanent as long as you return to me. I do not stand there to accuse, but to realign each step you take. As it is written, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. So every time you turn back, I am ready to guide you forward again. Therefore, stand firm in the place I have set you. Do not force doors out of anxiety. Do not chase under pressure. And do not doubt simply because you do not yet see movement. Silence is not emptiness. Often it is the place where I am working most deeply. And when the time comes, you will not need to struggle to make a way. You will see the path open before you. Clear, undeniable, and without confusion. In that moment, you will look back and understand that the days of slowing down were not delays, but precise preparation in every detail. You will step forward not as one striving to seize opportunity, but as one entering what has already been set apart for you. And in that step, you will carry my peace, a peace not dependent on circumstances, but rooted in the knowing that you are in the right place, at the right time, within the perfect plan I established for you from the beginning. My beloved child, understand this deeply within your soul. Where I am leading you is not a foreign land, nor a position you must compete to earn recognition. You enter it as one who has already been called by name, as one whose identity was formed long before you became aware of it. You did not discover this place on your own. It has been waiting for you. And now, I am simply bringing you into your rightful place within the flow I have arranged. When you step into it, you will realize that it does not feel unfamiliar because your soul has always known it, even when your mind did not understand. And within that awareness, I show you a position prepared not to elevate you above others, but to place you at a point of convergence where many things begin to move. This position is not a privilege for personal gain, but a responsibility that carries life to those around you. Remember Esther, she was not brought into the palace merely to live in comfort, but to stand at the appointed moment when an entire people needed intervention. As it is written that she was placed in her position for such a time as this. You can see that I do not place you where you are simply because you are worthy, but because there is something that must be accomplished through you. The throne I set before you is not a symbol of empty power or outward recognition. It is a place of service with authority, where you do not become greater, but become aligned. When you stand there, you do not need to strive for influence or attempt to prove anything. Your presence within the place I have ordained will itself shift the atmosphere around you. As it is written that the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father, that light does not come from your effort, but from your position within my will. My child, what I am opening before your eyes is not meant to confuse you, but to bring you into clearer understanding. You are no longer standing in a place where you must search for who you are. You have moved beyond the stage of uncertainty and are entering the stage of living out what I have already spoken over you. And because of this transition, everything around you may intensify, become more defined, even feel more pressing, not because you are on the wrong path, but because you are going deeper. You are moving from potential into reality, from promise into manifestation. But hold firmly to this. You do not need to seize that position by your own strength. You do not need to strain to maintain it. What I give is not sustained by effort, but by connection. When you step away from my presence, you will feel pressure to hold, to prove, to control. But when you remain in me, everything naturally falls into its rightful place. As it is written, whoever abides in me and I in them will bear much fruit. So you can see fruit does not come from striving, but from abiding. Remember David, when he was anointed as king, the oil was poured upon his head early. Yet he did not immediately ascend to the throne. There was a long season in which he remained in the fields, still facing trials, still being pursued and misunderstood. But the anointing did not fade, and the position was not altered. When the appointed time came, he did not have to strive. He stepped into it as one who had been prepared. As it is written that the Lord looks at the heart, what sustained him was not circumstance, but his relationship with me. So, my beloved child, remain in me. Do not let your eyes be drawn into trying to hold a position, but hold fast to the connection. Do not let your heart be pulled into proving yourself, but rest in what I have already spoken. When you remain, you will see everything begin to align, not by your effort, but by my hand. And when you stand in that place, you will no longer feel the need to become someone else. You will simply be who you are, yet fully positioned, at the right time, within the perfect plan I established long before. From that place, you will walk not as one searching for a place, but as one who belongs, not as one striving to create influence, but as one who carries presence, not as one afraid of losing, but as one who knows that what I have placed cannot be taken away. For what I give you is not merely a position, it is a calling, a current, and a light that will continue to flow through your life far beyond what you can presently see. My beloved child, look deeper than what is before your eyes, For not every region of light you see is simply a momentary reward for you to enjoy. These are spaces I have prepared in the Spirit, places you are called to enter, to dwell, to grow, and to function, not merely to visit and leave. There are places where I set you in authority. Yet that authority is not for control. It is given so you may restore the order of light where chaos once prevailed. There are places where I lead you into peace. Yet that peace is not a fleeting feeling. It is a firm foundation that keeps your heart steady when winds arise. There are places where I open your understanding so that you no longer see only the surface, but discern the hidden currents beneath all things. There are also places where I entrust you with influence, not for your name to be known, but so that my light through you may reach souls who are weary. And there are places where I quietly heal the remaining fragments within you, so that no old fracture will hinder the flow of the oil I desire to pour through your life. But my child, what I desire for you to perceive is not only each of these places of light, but the subtle threads that connect them. There are fine strands of gold that the natural eye may overlook, yet within them lies the strategy of heaven. My blessings do not fall by chance, nor do they move in random fortune. They carry order, season, rhythm, and require your response in each small step. As it is written that whoever is faithful in little will also be faithful in much. Do not treat the quiet choices of today as insignificant, a word you choose to withhold instead of speaking in anger. An hour you return to me instead of giving in to distraction. A small act of obedience when no one is watching. Each one is laying the foundation for the realm of light you will enter tomorrow. Remember Joshua when he led the people of Israel around Jericho. Each circuit seemed repetitive. Each step around the wall appeared to produce no visible change. Yet, within that simple obedience, my strategy was unfolding. When the appointed time came, the walls fell not by human strength, but because they had walked in full alignment with my rhythm. Do you see? There are things I bring forth not through a single great step, but through many small steps joined together in faithfulness. Therefore, my beloved child, honor the small things. Do not diminish preparation, waiting, or the quiet adjustments within your heart. I am weaving together authority with peace, peace with understanding, understanding with influence, influence with healing, and healing with a greater flow you have not yet fully seen. As you walk with me, step by step, day by day, choice by choice, you will come to realize that your life is not a collection of scattered pieces, but a sacred tapestry I am weaving with eternal wisdom. Therefore, continue to walk in a gentle awareness. Do not rush, do not overlook, and do not treat lightly what I am placing before you today. What seems small in your hands, when surrendered to me, will become a doorway into what is greater. And as you step into these realms of light, you will understand that I am not merely blessing you. I am positioning you within the order of my glory, so that your life becomes a flow of light, peace, and life to many others. My beloved child, from this day forward, walk with a deeper and steadier awareness. You are no longer wandering in search of a path, for you are already walking on the road I have prepared for you. You do not stand beneath the heavens waiting for blessings to fall as chance, for I have woven those blessings into every step you take. When your heart abides in me, what once seemed separate will quietly come together. Today's step will open tomorrow's path, and a small act of obedience now will become the foundation for a greater door ahead. As it is written, the steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord. Do not treat the small movements of your life as insignificant. There are things you do not yet understand, but when you look back, you will see that every golden thread has been woven by my wisdom, nothing misplaced, nothing wasted, nothing in excess, So do not hurry. My child, haste often causes your eyes to pass over the gentle signs I place along your way. Do not doubt simply because you cannot yet see the whole picture, and do not turn back just because the road ahead is still veiled in mist. I do not call you to walk by your own full understanding, but by your trust in me. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all your ways, and he will direct your paths. My guidance is not always thunderous, but it is always as precise as light that falls exactly where it is needed. I do not merely give you a map, I am the one who draws it, and I am also the one who walks with you through every turn. Let your soul become still, for what I am opening before you is no longer a distant image for you to admire and hope. It is drawing near to the point of manifestation. I show you a door not built by human strength, not raised by ambition, and not sustained by anxious hands. That door shines as if formed from glory itself, and though it has not yet fully opened, light is already streaming through its narrow spaces, like the dawn announcing a new day. You sense this within your spirit, a sacred stirring, a quiet anticipation, a knowing that something is drawing near. But remember, my doors do not open through force. They open when you move in harmony with me. You once believed that to step through, you had to strive harder, push further, prove yourself more worthy. But I tell you, what belongs to me does not open through the pressure of the flesh, but through the alignment of the Spirit. When your heart is at peace in me, when your will rests beneath my will, when you no longer chase your own timing, the hinges of the Spirit begin to move. As the people of Israel stood before the Jordan, the waters did not part while they stood at a distance observing, but when the priests stepped into the water in obedience, the path appeared. Do you see? There are doors that open, not when you try to control everything, but when you walk in step with me. And I want you to understand this. A door that is temporarily closed is not necessarily a denial. A closed door can still be yours if my light is shining through it. There are times when I hold it back not to disappoint you, but to complete what must be prepared within you. If the door were open before your heart was ready, what should have been a blessing could become a burden. Therefore, I align you before I open the way. I steady your steps before entrusting you with new ground. I cleanse your vision before allowing you to see the fullness. As it is written, the vision awaits its appointed time, though it delays. Wait for it. So what you call delay is not loss, it is the precision of heaven. Remember Peter on the night he was imprisoned? When the doors were locked, guards stood on every side, and every human path of escape was blocked. Yet when my angel came, his chains fell from his hands. The iron gate opened by itself, and he walked through without striving to break it. What is shut by man cannot withstand the moment I choose to open. So do not fear the doors that seem closed, and do not despair over locks you cannot break. When I speak, what appears unmoving will begin to move. When I lead you, what seems to have no path will become a way. My beloved child, your task is not to force the door to open, but to keep your heart in the place I am calling you to remain. Abide in my presence. Keep your ear close to my voice. Let peace be your sign, wisdom your gatekeeper, and obedience your guide with every step. When you are in me, you will not have to guess. You will recognize my rhythm. When something comes in haste, drawing you into pressure and robbing your peace, you will know to pause. When something comes from me, it may be great, yet it will not bring turmoil to your soul. It will carry a holy certainty, quiet yet unwavering. So continue forward, my child, not as one afraid of losing the way, but as one who knows that the guide is holding their hand. Do not return to the former version of yourself simply because the new place has not yet fully opened. Do not doubt my word just because your eyes have not yet seen every hinge begin to move. I am working in the quiet, connecting every detail, placing each piece in its rightful position. And when the time comes, you will not need to strive, push, or prove. The door will open, the light will pour out, and you will step in, not as one who was chosen by chance, but as one I have prepared beforehand. Then you will look back and understand that every step in me carried meaning. No act of obedience was forgotten. No tear was wasted. No season of waiting was in vain. All of it has brought you to this very door, this very moment, within the plan I lovingly wrote for you from the beginning. My beloved child, become still in the depth of your soul and recognize what I am building around you. Though your eyes may not see it, your spirit can perceive it. I have surrounded you with a structure not made of material things, a fortress not built of stone, but of power, of presence, of living light. And what you have been sensing recently, a sudden steadiness, a peace that arises without reason. Fears that once felt heavy, now passing like a gentle breeze. These are not coincidences. They are signs that the boundaries I have set are at work. As it is written, that the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. So, even though you do not see it, you are within a watch that does not sleep, does not falter, and does not fail. And my child, as what I have appointed for you draws near to its moment of manifestation, you may feel pressure increasing from directions you cannot fully name, but do not misinterpret this. Pressure is not a sign that you are losing. It is a sign that what you are about to receive carries weight. When light is about to break forth, darkness will press in, not because it has authority, but because it reacts to what is coming. But engrave this truth within your heart. Nothing can cross the boundary I have set. As in the story of Job, no trial touched him without passing through my permission. So what you are facing is not chaos beyond control, but part of the arrangement I am using to bring clarity to your purpose. See with the spirit, not only with the eyes. There are things that appear as fire, yet they are not meant to destroy. Like the burning bush Moses saw in the wilderness, fire that surrounded yet did not consume. This is not contradiction, but a sign of my presence where I am. Fire does not destroy, it preserves. In the same way, what surrounds you is not only to keep out what does not belong to you, but to protect what I have placed within you. As it is written, that the name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous run into it and are safe. You do not need to build your own protection. You need only remain in me, and I will be your refuge. My beloved child, learn to recognize the small yet clear signals I am sending you each day. When you find your heart standing firm, even while circumstances remain unchanged, it is I who am holding you. When voices that once unsettled you now echo faintly in the distance, it is because I have pushed their boundaries away from you. When you realize you no longer react as before, no longer carried away by unseen fears, it is not because you have become numb, but because you are being established on a new foundation, one where peace is no longer dependent on what is outside. Remember Elisha, when he and his servant were surrounded by enemy forces. The servant saw the encirclement and was afraid, but Elisha prayed for his eyes to be opened. And when they were, he saw the heavenly armies surrounding them. As it is written that those who are with us are more than those who are with them. So you can see, what you do not see does not mean it is not there. The spiritual reality surrounding you is far greater than what your natural senses can perceive. Therefore, my child, remain at rest within my protection. Do not let temporary pressures cause you to question what I have already established. Do not try to control by your own strength what I have already covered. You are not called to keep yourself safe through effort, but to dwell within the safety I have prepared. When you abide in me, you are not only protected, you are preserved, so that you may grow, so that you may carry what I have prepared without being harmed. And as you continue to walk in this awareness, you will come to understand that the blessing is not merely approaching, it is being guarded, not to delay you, but to ensure that when you receive it, you will be able to keep it. When you step into it, you will stand firm. For everything I give you is not merely a gift, but part of the eternal design I have written for your life, a design that is not shaken by circumstances, not broken by dark, and never beyond my reach. My beloved child, understand this with your whole soul. Resurrection is not only a sudden moment of brilliance where everything changes at once, but a quiet, enduring journey woven little by little within your depths. It does not always arrive through visible transformations. Often it begins with small shifts, a thought you no longer hold on to as before, a response softened where tension once lived, a choice no longer pulled back into old patterns. In these seemingly simple movements, life is quietly rising. As it is written that the seed sprouts and grows, though the sower does not know how. You do not need to understand every way I move. You only need to recognize that I am moving. Look closely at the changes within you, for they are not meaningless coincidences. Each time you realize you no longer react according to former patterns, it is a sign that a part of you has been released from an unseen bondage. Each time peace enters where unrest once ruled. That is ground being watered by my living stream. Each time you hear my voice more clearly amidst the noise, it is evidence that your spiritual hearing is being opened. As it is written that I will place my law within them and write it upon their hearts. The transformation I am working does not merely touch outward behavior, but reaches into your very nature, where every decision is formed. My child, there are parts of you that you once believed would never change, memories that caused you to shrink back, reflexes that made you guarded, habits that pulled you backward. Yet I am touching each of those places, not in haste, not by force, but with the patience of a gardener who understands the seasons of what he tends. I soften what was hardened by pain. I untangle what you could not release on your own. I lead you out of reactions you once believed defined you, and I do this not to strip you of yourself, but to bring you into the person I intended you to be from the beginning. Remember the story of Lazarus, who lay in the tomb for 4 days, when all believed that hope had ended. But when I called, life did not return gradually in human sight. It came in a moment at my word. Yet even then, he still needed to be unbound from the grave clothes that held him. Do you see? Life may come in an instant, but full release is a process. In the same way, I have placed life within you, yet I continue to remove each remaining layer so that you may walk in complete freedom. Therefore, my beloved child, do not take lightly the small steps you are taking. Do not assume that because you have not yet seen great change, I am not at work. True life does not need to be loud to prove its presence. It is quiet, yet certain. It does not rush, yet it never stops. And every time you respond to me, even through a small choice, you are partnering with the work I am doing within you. As it is written that the vine dresser prunes the branch that bears fruit so it may bear more. The pruning you are experiencing is not meaningless loss. There are things I remove, not because they are evil, but because they no longer align with where I am leading you. There are habits I take away not because you have failed, but because you are being lifted into a new level. The gentle pain you feel in this process is not a sign of destruction, but of transformation. So, my child, trust this process. Do not demand that everything be completed at once. Do not doubt simply because you have not yet seen visible results. Learn to recognize life within the small things, for it is there that I am working most deeply. And as you continue to walk in trust, you will look back and realize that you have not only changed in parts, you have been transformed entirely, from the inside out, in a way that only I can accomplish. I am renewing you day by day, layer by layer, region by region, and what I have begun, I will bring to completion. My beloved child, keep your heart open like soil I have prepared. Do not close yourself because past seasons have left you weary. Good soil does not reject the seed simply because it has endured drought. It receives, knowing that life can return when the water is given. In the same way, do not let your soul shrink because of memory. Do not shut yourself because of what once remained incomplete, but allow me to continue sowing something new within you, even when you cannot yet see the full result. My work is still unfolding, as it is written that whether the sower sleeps or rises, the seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how. You do not need to understand the entire process. You only need to remain in trust. Each time you choose faith over doubt, you open another doorway within your heart for my light to enter. Each time you return to me instead of following the noise around you, you bring yourself back to the center of life. Each time you keep your heart soft instead of hardened by circumstance, you make the soil within you more fertile. You are not merely trying to become better. You are cooperating with the resurrection. I am working within you, a process that is quiet, yet unstoppable. Remember the parable of the sower. Seed that falls on good soil does not struggle to grow. It simply remains in the right environment. When your heart abides in me, everything I plant will grow naturally. As it is written that whoever abides in me and I in them will bear much fruit. The fruit you long for does not come from forced effort, but from uninterrupted connection. You do not need to make life grow by your own strength. You only need to remain open before me. And then, my child, there will come a day when you look back not with regret, but with deep understanding. You will realize that you are no longer the person who began this journey. Old reactions will have fallen away. Fears that once held you will have lost their weight, and limitations that once defined you will no longer do so. You will see that I have not merely repaired you, I have transformed you. Not in a single moment, but through each day, each choice, each time you turn back to me. In that moment, you will understand that you are no longer simply surviving from season to season, but have become a living garden, a place where life is nurtured, grows, and overflows. What I have planted in you will not stop with you, but will flow through you to touch others. As it is written that the righteous are like a tree planted by streams of water, yielding fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. This is no longer a distant promise, it is becoming your reality, even now, day by day. So, my beloved child, continue to keep your heart open. Do not let what is unfinished cause you to doubt what I have begun. Do not let the past determine how you receive the present. Allow me to work, even when you do not yet see the whole picture. For I am not only leading you through a journey, I am transforming you into a source of life. And as you abide in me, that life will never run dry, never fade, and never cease to flow. Beloved, do not be quick to carve a heavy name onto your journey, one you yourself do not yet fully understand, for there are things you have passed through that were not an ending, but a curtain being drawn back to reveal what lay hidden beneath. I was there, even when you believed you were alone, quietly enduring waves of exhaustion, when your mind felt worn down by thoughts with no clear origin, and when you began to question whether your worth had somehow been diminished. You saw weakness, but I saw a soul being illuminated. awakened to recognize what it had never perceived before. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. And so, what is being uncovered is not meant to condemn you, but to free you from influences you have never yet named. There have been moments when you felt drained, not because you lacked strength, but because something had entered unnoticed and taken its place within you. Darkness does not need to be loud in order to exist. It requires only neglect. Only a small opening in the heart when you are too weary to discern. Yet I have never abandoned you in those spaces. I have seen every time you faltered, every moment when you no longer stood as firmly as before, and every instance when the truth within you was obscured by voices that were not mine. And it is precisely in those moments that I began to do what you did not fully understand. I allowed light to touch the darkness, so that you would no longer live in uncertainty. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. For when my light shines, every falsehood loses its place to stand. Do not assume that what you are experiencing is merely passing emotion, for there is a deeper process unfolding, one that your natural eyes cannot perceive. In the realm where your soul reaches, but your mind cannot fully grasp, everything concerning you is being preserved with completeness. No loss has been forgotten, no delay has gone unnoticed, and no part of you has been taken without my awareness. I am not only the one who comforts, I am the one who restores justice. When you believe that everything has slipped away without explanation, I am working in silence. For the Lord loves justice and will not forsake his saints. Psalm 37:28. And therefore what belongs to you will not be held indefinitely by what is unjust. Remember the story of Elijah when he fled into the wilderness. So exhausted that he wished to give up everything, he was not overcome by an outward enemy, but by an inward depletion. He lay beneath the tree, convinced he could go no further. Yet I did not come to him through a mighty wind or an earthquake. I came in a still, small whisper. In that quiet, I restored him, nourished him, and led him back to his path. What you are walking through now is no different. Not every battle is won through loud triumph. Some victories are formed in stillness. When I touch the deepest places within you and restore what has been worn away, so do not rush to conclude that you have lost something beyond recovery. There are parts of you that seem to have faded, yet in truth, they are only waiting to be restored at the appointed time. I do not work according to the urgency of fear, but according to the precision of wisdom. When I say that I will restore, it is not a vague promise. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. Joel 2:25. And this means not only what you have seen, but even what you did not realize was lost will be returned and set back into its rightful place. What you call exhaustion is, at times, the sign that an old layer is being stripped away from you. You cannot step into what is new while still carrying the influences that have weakened you. So when you sense that you are no longer as you once were, do not be quick to fear. Some changes do not come to take from you, but to lighten you from burdens you were never created to bear. Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. And so you do not need to hold on to what is wearing you down. And in the midst of all this, I want you to understand something unshakable. You have not been abandoned in this process. Even when you do not understand, even when you cannot yet see the results, I am still at work with a completeness beyond what you can measure. What is being realigned is not only your outward circumstances, but the very foundation within you. And when that foundation is restored, you will no longer be easily shaken by the things that once unsettled you. Therefore, stand firm, not by your own strength, but by trusting that I am orchestrating every detail. When you feel as though you are losing control, remember that I have never lost it. When it seems everything is slipping from your hands, know that it is being placed into mine. Be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. For in that stillness you will come to see that what I am doing is not destruction, but restoration. And there will come a time when you look back and you will no longer call these days failure. You will see them as doors that opened your eyes, as moments when light entered places that had long been hidden. You will realize that what once caused you to doubt yourself became the very place where I re-established you. And you will walk forward no longer with the trembling of former days, but with the steadiness of one who has been freed from what once quietly bound them. Do not be alarmed when what is familiar begins to tremble before your eyes, for that movement is not a sign of collapse, but an indication that my hand is touching foundations you once believed were secure. Some things have remained in your life far longer than they had rightful authority, not because they belonged there, but because the moment had not yet come for me to command their departure. Yet when my light begins to shine, everything that does not belong to you can no longer remain hidden. It will lose its place not because you force it out, but because my presence makes its existence no longer legitimate. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. So, understand that what you are witnessing is not loss, but purification, restoring you to your original clarity. There were things that once held back what rightfully belonged to you: your joy, your peace, the clarity of your mind, but they cannot hold what is not theirs forever. When I act, every unlawful restraint must release its grip, and when it releases, it does not depart in silence. It must return what it has held. This is not a distant promise meant only to comfort you, but a principle established long before you came to understand it. The Lord loves justice. He will not forsake his saints. Psalm 37:28. For within my righteousness, nothing is taken without being accounted for. Nothing is delayed without being completed. You do not need to reclaim these things by your own effort, for I am the righteous judge, and I do not forget what belongs to you. Keep your soul in stillness, not the silence of emptiness, but the quietness of trust. When you are no longer quick to react, you will begin to hear the rhythm of my work unfolding. Do not allow passing emotions to pull you away from the process I am establishing. For emotions shift with circumstance, but my work does not. There are things you desire to reclaim immediately. Yet, if you strive in your own strength, you will return to the very patterns I am freeing you from. Your part is no longer to fight as you once did, but to stand firm in what I am doing. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. For in that stillness, you are not losing control. You are placing control where it truly belongs. Remember the story of the people of Israel when they stood before the walls of Jericho. They were not told to use their own strength to tear the walls down, nor were they instructed to rush into a loud and familiar battle. I simply told them to walk around the city in obedience, in silence, and in patience. And as they followed what I had spoken, the walls that seemed immovable collapsed on their own. It was not because of their strength, but because they stood within my instruction. In the same way, there are walls in your life that will not fall by your effort, but by my presence and my command when you choose to remain in trust. Beloved, do not let what has happened cause you to see yourself as someone who has lost something beyond restoration. What you have gone through does not have the authority to define you. Only what I am doing has the power to shape you. When you view your journey through my lens, you will not see a series of losses, but a process being guided to bring you into wholeness. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for harm, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. And so your future is not written by what has passed, but by what I have spoken. There will come a time when judgment is completed not in uncertainty, but in a clarity you cannot deny. You will see what seemed lost returned in ways you did not expect. You will realize that you were never outside of my protection, even in the days when you could not feel it. And when I act, no power is strong enough to withhold what I have appointed for you. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. For when I stand on your side, every opposing force loses its authority. So continue forward with a settled heart, not because everything is already finished, but because you know the one who is bringing all things to completion. Do not rush, do not fear, and do not return to old ways. Remain in my stillness, for it is there that you will see most clearly that I not only see you, I am acting on your behalf. And I will not stop until everything that belongs to you is restored to its rightful place. Look back upon the path you have walked, but do not carry the eyes of condemnation. For what you need is not self-accusation, but the illumination of truth. There were times you slowed down not because you were weak, but because you were carrying more than you were ever meant to bear. There were moments you felt lost, not because you lacked purpose, but because distorted voices had entered and unsettled your mind. I saw all of it, and I did not call it failure. The path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, shining ever brighter until the full day. Proverbs 4:18. And so, even in the stretches where you walk through mist, the true light has been leading you forward all along. And while you are still questioning your place, I have already set a boundary around your life, a boundary not drawn by human hands, but established by my word from the very beginning. Within that boundary are the things that belong to you, the blessings appointed beforehand, the doors prepared in advance, and the portions of your life that no force has the right to possess. Yet over time, certain areas have grown dim, not because I abandoned you, but because there has been intrusion you did not recognize. The peace that once belonged to you was replaced by anxiety. Clarity was overshadowed by doubt, and joy was weighed down by an unseen pressure. Still, I have not allowed this to continue. When I declare, restore it, it is not a suggestion, but a command carried out with the authority of heaven. The moment my word is released, the unseen realm begins to move in ways your eyes cannot perceive. Yet your spirit will discern. What once held what belonged to you no longer has the right to keep it. The places that were covered are being uncovered. The doors that were shut are being opened again, and the parts of you that were taken in silence are being brought back. He sent forth his word and healed them, and delivered them from destruction. Psalm 107:20. For every word I speak is not merely sound, but action that carries liberation. You may not yet see it with your eyes, but the process is unfolding with certainty. Remember David when he was still a shepherd, overlooked and unrecognized, yet I had already anointed him long before he stepped into the throne. During that waiting season, he did not lose what I had appointed for him, even though outward circumstances seemed to say otherwise. And when the appointed time came, what I had spoken could no longer be delayed. And he entered his position, not by his own strength, but by my faithfulness. In the same way, you have not lost your place simply because there were seasons when you could not see clearly. What I have established cannot be erased by what you have gone through. You must understand this deeply. Blessing does not come randomly, nor is it dependent on your passing emotions. It operates according to my order, under the authority of my word, and within the timing I have set. When the decree has not yet been released, there may be delay, but once I have spoken, no force can withhold what belongs to you. The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Proverbs 10:22. And so, what I restore will not carry the burdens of the past, but will come with a freedom you have never known before. Therefore, do not let what has happened cause you to question your worth. What you have gone through does not have the authority to define you. What defines you is the word I have spoken over your life from the beginning. When you understand this, you will no longer see yourself as one who has lost something, but as one who is being restored piece by piece in a more complete way. What has been dimmed will become clear. What has been withheld will be returned. And what once caused you to waver will no longer have power over you. So stand firm in the stillness of trust, not because everything is already complete before your eyes, but because you know the one who is bringing all things to completion. When I act, nothing can oppose the outcome I have determined. I am the Lord when the time is right. I will make it happen quickly. Isaiah 60:22. And when that time comes, you will not only witness restoration, but you will also realize that you have never stepped outside the boundary of my protection and my sovereign care. Do not be quick to dismiss what is gently touching the depths of your heart. For some movements do not begin with clear images, but with subtle stirrings that only the soul can perceive. When you sense a quiet warmth spreading within you, when your thoughts seem to be brushed by an unexplainable wave of peace, when glimpses of pathways opening begin to appear in your mind, these are not aimless imaginations. They are signs of a process I have already set in motion, even before your eyes can see it. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. And so, those early impressions are not fragile. They are the first evidence that what I have ordained is beginning to take form in your reality. Understand this: when the unseen realm begins to move, the inner man within you will recognize it before your outward circumstances change. There are things I do not reveal immediately through sight, but I plant them within your spirit to prepare you for what is coming. Therefore, do not let the delay of what you see cause you to doubt what you are sensing. Some of my works begin in silence, yet their results will resound in ways you cannot deny. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. So every small movement you feel today is a preparation for a greater unveiling at the appointed moment. There will come days when you no longer question, for the changes will appear before you with unmistakable clarity. Places that once felt blocked will begin to open in ways you did not expect. What was once withheld will no longer be restrained. Opportunities you believed were lost will return, yet not in their former form. They will be restored with clarity, with maturity, and in alignment with the person you have become through this journey. Not everything that returns will look the same. There are things I do not restore in their old form, but renew entirely, so they align with the destiny you are stepping into. Remember Peter, who labored all night fishing and caught nothing. Every experience he had told him there was no reason to hope. Yet, when I told him to cast the net once more, he obeyed without understanding. And in that obedience, the catch came in such abundance that the nets nearly broke. This was not merely a miracle, but a re-establishment of results beyond anything he had known before. In the same way, opportunities will return to you not as repetition, but as an overflow surpassing what you have previously experienced. Beloved, trust that when I open a door, no power can shut it, and when I close away, no one can force it open. What I open, no one can shut, and what I shut, no one can open. Revelation 3-7. So you do not need to strive to control the flow of what is unfolding. Your part is not to force outcomes, but to discern and step forward when I make the way clear. Do not fear change, for this change does not come to lead you astray, but to bring you into your rightful place. What is being realigned is not random. It is the outworking of a decree that has already been established. And as that decree takes shape in reality, you will not only see doors opening, but you will also recognize that everything is unfolding with order, with purpose, and under guidance. So, keep your heart anchored in the stillness of faith. Do not rush, do not doubt, and do not return to former ways of thinking. Let the small signs you are sensing become the foundation of your faith. For this is how I lead you from what is unseen into what will soon be clearly revealed. And when the time comes, you will understand that nothing has been random. Everything is the manifestation of my work. For I am the one who began this process, and I will bring it to completion in fullness. Do not be surprised when you begin to sense a deep movement within something you could not previously name, for there are changes that do not begin outwardly, but originate in the unseen realm where authority is established. When what does not belong to you begins to lose its ground, it is not because it chooses to leave, but because its right to remain has been revoked. What causes darkness to tremble is not lack, but the termination of its authority. When I give a command, there is no negotiation, no delay, only execution. And you must hold firmly to this. Everything I am doing follows an order that has already been set. There is no randomness within its flow. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. So, what is coming to you is not only right, but rightly timed, rightly formed, and rightly measured so that you can receive it without breaking. You once thought that blessing must arrive all at once, like a great rain pouring down. But I tell you that my flow does not operate according to the chaos of emotion. There are things I release like lightning, sudden, unannounced, placing you in a moment where everything shifts within a single breath. Doors that seemed permanently shut will suddenly open, and pathways, once blocked, will appear before you. You will not have time to prepare, for the very suddenness is the sign that it is my direct intervention, untouched by human hands. I will go before you and level the uneven places. I will break in pieces the gates of bronze and cut through the bars of iron. Isaiah 45:2. And so these abrupt turning points are not coincidence, but decisive acts of my power. At the same time, you will also see other things come to you like a flowing stream, quiet, unhurried, yet constant and sure, day by day, step by step. And over time, you will realize that you are standing upon a foundation that was being built without your awareness. I am not only concerned with how much you receive, but whether you can sustain what is given. For this reason, there are things I do not release immediately, not because I delay, but because I am preparing you so that you will not lose them when they arrive. He who is faithful in very little is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. And so the small steps you are walking through now are the training that will enable you to stand firm when greater things are placed in your hands. Remember the story of Joseph. It was not when he wore the coat of many colors that his destiny was fulfilled, nor when he was sold or imprisoned that the promise was lost. Every stage of that journey, whether swift or slow, was part of the process I used to bring him into the position I had appointed. When the time came, he stepped into authority not as one unprepared, but as one who had been formed to carry responsibility. In the same way, you are not only being prepared to receive, but to retain, to steward, and to not lose what I entrust to you. Therefore, do not compare the rhythm of what is coming to you. Some things will arrive like an explosion, and you will immediately know it is my hand. Other things will come as gently as breath, and you will only recognize them in hindsight. Yet both are one. They come from the same source, the same intention, and the same love I have for you. I never give without considering your capacity to hold what is given, and I never allow you to receive beyond what you are able to carry. So keep your heart in peace, unshaken by urgency or anxiety. When something comes quickly, receive it with trust. When something unfolds slowly, remain steady in patience. For both are signs that I am at work in your life. And when every part is set back into its rightful place, you will see a complete picture, a continuous flow where everything arrives at the right time, in the right place, and in the right way. Just as I ordained from the beginning, you do not come out of the days behind you as one who has merely survived the storm, but as one who has been rebuilt, repositioned, and restored to what was yours from the beginning. What I am doing does not stop at recovering what you lost. I am reestablishing the authority within you that was once obscured, so that you rise, not with the posture of one who barely made it through, but with the stance of one who has been affirmed. You meet him with the blessings of goodness. You set a crown of pure gold upon his head. Psalm 21:3. And so the image I hold for you is not one bowed beneath old memories, but one standing upright in restored glory. Therefore, from this moment forward, do not carry the old definitions of yourself, labels of lack, doubt, and wounding. These no longer have the right to exist in the way you see yourself. They have been brought into a process of removal, and the authority to define you no longer rests in what is past. I call you by my truth, not by your memory. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. So you are not merely repaired, you are renewed from within, to live according to the identity I have set in you. As you walk in this awareness, you will no longer feel the need to prove your worth. You will not have to argue for recognition, nor strive to establish your place. Your life itself will become a living testimony. The doors that open will speak on your behalf that I have acted. The flow of blessing will confirm that you are standing where I have appointed. And what once appeared to be an ending will be seen as a doorway into an entirely different season, a season in which you not only receive again, but walk in the abundance I prepared beforehand. Remember Esther, a young woman once unseen, who entered the palace not by her own strength, but through my hidden orchestration. When the time came, she was no longer hidden in obscurity, but stood in authority to deliver an entire people. This was not a random change, but the unveiling of a position that had already been established. In the same way, you are not being restored simply to return to what was, but to step into a role you have not yet fully perceived. What I placed within you from the beginning is now being activated to be revealed. Beloved, let your heart settle in. My presence, not as one still uncertain, but as one receiving a seal that cannot be erased. An old season has closed the season where what did not belong to you once found a place, and a new season has opened the season of restoration, of confirmation, of rightful order being set again. No longer will silent accusations hang over you like shadows. They have lost their authority. What remains are the records of blessing awaiting their fulfillment in heaven's timing. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will guard your soul. Psalm 121:7. And so you are no longer standing in vulnerability, but under my steadfast covering, and within that cleansed space, my voice does not rise to argue or persuade, but to affirm what has already been decided. Everything has been released from where it did not belong. Every part that was once held back has been reclaimed, and all that belongs to you is being placed back into your hands under an authority that cannot be reversed. No power is strong enough to alter what I have spoken, and no circumstance is great enough to delay what I have ordained. Therefore, walk forward with a renewed posture, not hesitant like one afraid of losing, but steady like one who knows they stand within assurance. When you move in this way, you will realize that you do not need to go back to search for what was lost. for it is being brought to you in a better form, fuller, and aligned with who you have become. And in time, as you look back, you will understand that this journey did not lead you to an ending, but to a beginning, a season in which you do not merely live, but govern, not only receive, but reflect my fullness in every step you take. Beloved, I do not stop at preserving you from what once weakened you. I am enlarging the ground on which you stand, leading you out of a place of self-preservation into a position of guarding the gateways of life. You are no longer only one who protects yourself, but one who stands at the threshold where flows pass through, where your presence becomes a boundary that discerns between what belongs to the light and what no longer has a place. And as you stand in that position, you will realize that you do not need to strive to create influence, for the authority I have placed within you speaks on its own, just as light does not struggle to shine, yet naturally reveals everything it touches. You are the light of the world. Let your light so shine before others. Matthew 5:14-16. And so your presence is no longer small, but a sign that something greater is moving through you. Yet you must hold what I have entrusted to you with deep understanding, not rushing to use it as a tool of emotion, nor treating it lightly as something insignificant. Authority is not given for you to prove yourself, but for you to stand firm in the stillness of trust. When you understand this, you will no longer react impulsively, nor be pulled by outward fluctuations. Instead, you will remain steady, and in that steadiness, everything that does not belong to you will reveal itself and depart on its own. The weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to demolish strongholds. 2 Corinthians 10:4. And so you do not need to contend in the old ways. My presence within you is already the decree that causes strongholds to fall. Remember Nehemiah when he was given the task of rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. He did not only build, but also guarded, working with one hand while holding a weapon with the other. Not in panic, but in vigilance. He understood that his position was not merely to complete a task, but to stand as a gatekeeper, ensuring that what was rebuilt would not be violated again. In the same way, you are not restored merely to live for yourself, but to become a place of refuge, a place of protection, a space through which others may encounter peace. When you stand in your rightful place, the environment around you will shift, not because of your striving, but because the authority I have placed within you is at work. From this point forward, walk with a renewed awareness, not seeing yourself as one who has just escaped a battle, but as one who has been affirmed within it. You do not move with the mindset of one afraid of loss, but with the stability of one who knows they stand in what has already been established. Thanks be to God, who always leads us in triumph in Christ. 2 Corinthians 2:14. And so, your victory is not something you must achieve, but something you are already walking in. When you grasp this, you will no longer shrink before darkness, but advance in peace, knowing that the one within you is greater than anything before you. And as you act within that authority, the spiritual atmosphere around you will begin to shift in visible ways. Places that once felt heavy will become lighter. Places that were chaotic will begin to be ordered. Not because you force change, but because my presence through you is accomplishing it. You will see that what I have placed within you does not only transform your own life, but reaches others in ways you cannot control or calculate. This is not a burden, but the natural overflow of what I have sown into you from the beginning. Therefore, my beloved, rise and stand in a deep peace without fear, without hesitation. You do not walk alone, nor do you act by your own strength. I am within you, walking with you, revealing myself through you. And as you move in that union, you will come to see that nothing can hold you back. For you are no longer confined to your own limits, but are walking in my power, a power that cannot be restrained, cannot be reversed, and always accomplishes what I have ordained. Beloved, from the place where I have covered and kept you, I do not stop at protection. I awaken within you something deeper, the right to stand. You must understand this clearly, that standing is not merely the ability to endure or to hold on when the waves rise. It is the legal authority to remain in the very position I assigned to you from the beginning. When I say, stand, it is not advice for you to consider, but a command that establishes your position. That word places you at a point where, if you agree with me, no force can move you away. Stand firm, having done everything. To stand, Ephesians 6:13. For your standing is not built on your own strength, but on the authority I have placed within you. And when you truly stand in that position, you will begin to notice a clear shift that you could not explain before. The things that once pulled you down, pressures, delays, emotional cycles, will suddenly lose their weight, not because they vanish at once, but because they no longer have the authority to govern you. You are no longer led by what you feel in each moment, but anchored in a truth that does not change. Surely the righteous will never be shaken, Psalm 112:6. And so when you stand in the right place, you are no longer pushed around by outward forces, but become steady from within. From that place of standing, you will see the very path beneath your feet begin to change. Roads that once seemed closed will open, not because you forced a new way, but because your position has been set correctly. Directions that once felt unclear will become defined, not because everything around you changes first, but because you have been placed into the right perspective. Just as when Elisha prayed for his servant to see the heavenly army surrounding them, the situation itself did not change, only the vision did. In the same way, when you stand where you are meant to stand, you begin to see what has always been there, though you did not perceive it before. Beloved, from where you stand, your words are no longer empty sounds. When you speak in union with me, your words carry the weight of authority. They are no longer personal opinions, but declarations that shape reality. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, Proverbs 18:21. And so when you speak from the right position, your words do not merely reflect your thoughts, they release what I am doing. A single word spoken at the right moment can dissolve confusion. A small act of obedience, precise and timely, can redirect the entire course of your life. Remember Joshua when I entrusted him to lead the people into the promised land, when he declared and acted according to my word. The Jordan River parted, and the walls of Jericho fell not by his strength, but because he stood in the position I had given him and spoke what I had said. This shows you that true authority does not lie in display, but in agreement. When you align with me, you do not need to do much. Yet what you do will carry an effect far beyond your own strength. Therefore, do not take lightly the position I have placed you in. Do not doubt your right to stand simply because you are not yet accustomed to it. Remain there steadfast, at peace, and alert. As you do, you will find that you no longer need to strain to control everything. You need only to stand, and from that standing, all things will begin to align. What does not belong to you will depart. What belongs to you will come, and what I have ordained will begin to manifest with clarity. For you are no longer one carried along by the current, but one who stands within the current I have established. No longer one reacting to circumstances, but one who carries the authority to shape them. And as you continue to walk in this awareness, you will discover that the authority to stand I have given you does not only keep you steady, but opens before you a life where every step rests upon an unshakable foundation, the foundation of myself. Beloved, do not take lightly what I am awakening within you, for the authority to stand that I am activating is not a common ability, but a position established by my own word. This is precisely what darkness has always sought to conceal from your awareness, because the moment you recognize where you stand and to whom you belong, it loses its foothold. It cannot pull you down when I have lifted you up. It cannot divert your path when your feet have been set upon the way I have prepared. I will set him on high, and he will walk in safety. Psalm 91, 14-15. And so your position is not temporary. It is a place secured by an authority that cannot be reversed. Therefore, hold that position not through strain or self-effort, but through the peace of agreement. You do not need to struggle to remain steady, for it is your union with me that sustains your standing. When you cease striving in the old way and simply remain in what I have spoken, you will discover that stability does not come from effort, but from foundation. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Psalm 37, 7. And in that stillness, you are not weakened. You are standing upon what cannot be shaken. From where you stand, you will begin to witness a change that cannot be denied. What once opposed you will begin to retreat, not because you force it away, but because it no longer has the authority to remain. What was once locked will open, not because you break it, but because the command to open has already been released. You will realize that circumstances are no longer what governs you. If the Lord is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. And so you do not need to fight for victory. You are standing within a victory already established. Remember Daniel, who stood in the midst of an empire filled with pressure and threat. He did not strain to resist, nor did he flee from his position. He simply stood firm in what he knew to be true. And even when he was thrown into the lion's den, he remained unshaken, not because the situation was gentle, but because his position was not altered by the situation. And in that standing, I made my protection unmistakably known. In the same way, you are not called to react to everything around you, but to stand, and from that standing, all things will begin to realign. Beloved, from this moment on, you no longer walk as one carried by what happens around you. You walk as one who carries a fixed point, a position from which everything else must adjust. You do not need to strive to shape circumstances through effort, for the authority I have placed within you will do so naturally when you stand where you are meant to stand. What does not belong to you will not remain. What belongs to you will not be withheld. So continue forward in deep peace without fear, without hesitation. Remain in the place I have set you, and allow me to do the rest. As you do, you will see everything begin to shift, not because you control it, but because you are standing in the place where I govern all things. And from that place, you are no longer one influenced by circumstances, but one who walks in authority, and to whom circumstances must respond according to what I have ordained. Beloved, hold this firmly within your heart. I am not leading you back to where you once were, as though everything were merely patched together to function again. What I am doing goes far beyond simple healing. I am bringing you across a threshold into something new, where your nature is elevated, your capacity expanded, and your stability no longer resembles what it once was. What you have endured has not merely been erased. It has become the very foundation upon which I am building a stronger version of you. You set a crown of pure gold upon his head, Psalm 21:3. And so, what you now carry is not the result of personal striving, but the mark of my impartation, a seal that cannot be mistaken or imitated in the spiritual realm. As that mark rests upon you, those things that once saw you as an easy target will begin to recognize the change. Not because you have become flawless, but because your position has shifted. You are no longer standing where every voice can influence you. You are no longer pulled by forces you once could not discern. A new sharpness is being formed within you, a discernment that no longer depends on emotion, but on illumination from me. Test all things, hold fast what is good. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. And so you are no longer passively receiving, but actively discerning and choosing according to truth. From that elevated place, I entrust you with a role that is no longer centered only on guarding yourself, but on watching over what has been placed into your hands. You become one who stands at the gate where what enters and what exits is measured and governed. This is not a title for pride, but a responsibility that requires vigilance and faithfulness. A gatekeeper does not drift into sleep, does not grow careless, and does not allow what is not of me to slip back in. I have set watchmen upon your walls, O Jerusalem, Isaiah 62:6. And so your position is not accidental, but an appointment established with purpose. As you receive this role, you will begin to see me adjusting the entrances and exits of your life with clarity. Doors that once allowed intrusion will begin to narrow, no longer granting easy access to what once entered unchecked. Pathways that permitted weariness, doubt, or unhealthy influences will no longer remain as they were, not because you forced them closed, but because I am restoring the system of protection around you. Guard your heart above all else, for from it flow the issues of life. Proverbs 4:23. And as you keep watch rightly, the flow within you will remain clear and undefiled. At the same time, you will see other doors begin to open wide in ways you cannot ignore. Timely opportunities will present themselves with a clarity you had not seen before. Aligned connections will come without bringing exhaustion. The streams of provision, direction, and peace will grow stronger and more consistent. This is not random. It is the result of standing in the right position and guarding what I have entrusted to you. As the wrong ways are closed, the right ways will open more fully. Remember the gatekeepers in the temple during the time of David, those who stood not merely to open and close, but to ensure that nothing unclean entered the holy place. They were not the most visible, yet their role preserved the integrity of the entire space. In the same way, what I have entrusted to you is not for visibility, but for preservation, so that what I am building within you will not be violated again. Your faithfulness in this will determine the strength and endurance of what I am placing into your hands. Beloved, do not take this upgrade lightly. It does not merely change how you feel, it transforms how you function. You no longer react from old patterns, but begin to act from a place of awareness and authority. As you stand in the role of a gatekeeper, you are not only guarding yourself, you are shaping the environment around you. What does not belong to you will be stopped before it can even enter, and what does belong to you will be welcomed and allowed to grow in safety. Therefore, walk with alertness, yet without strain, with seriousness, yet without heaviness. I have not given you a burden, but a position, and within that position, I am with you, guiding you, and working through you. As you remain faithful in guarding, you will see that your life is no longer a place easily disrupted, but becomes a space that is established, protected, and opened in the right direction, a place where everything I have ordained can flourish fully, no longer interrupted. Beloved, when you truly stand in the position I have entrusted to you, you will recognize an unmistakable shift. You are no longer living in reaction to what happens, but participating in shaping what will happen. Darkness no longer chooses the point of impact and forces your response. You establish boundaries in agreement with me. Circumstances no longer hold the final word. You speak from a position that has been affirmed, and your words carry a weight that does not originate from you, but from the authority I have given. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Matthew 16:19. And so you are not merely observing events, you are taking part in establishing order according to heaven's will. You must understand that this authority is not given because you have reached perfection, but because you have been prepared through what you have walked through. Every trial you endured was not just a wave to survive, but a training ground to teach you how to stand. Every lesson you received was not merely knowledge, but a foundation enabling you to hold what I am placing into your hands. I do not entrust restored blessings to a place without a watchman. I chose you because you have shown that you can stand without collapsing, hold without releasing, and discern without being deceived. He who is faithful in little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. And so your faithfulness in what you once considered small has opened the way for what is greater to come. So wear the crown I give you, not with pride, but with a steady humility and awareness that all you carry comes from me. Stand at the gate not in tension, but in a peaceful vigilance. A gatekeeper does not panic at surrounding movement. They observe, discern, and act at the right moment. Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. Matthew 26:41. And so your watchfulness is not anxiety, but a sensitivity guided by my presence within you. Remember Samuel as a boy in the temple. He did not seek a great role. He learned to listen. When I called, he answered. And through that simple response, he became a keeper of my word, a vessel through whom not one of my words fell to the ground. In the same way, you do not need to manufacture authority. You need only to listen and agree, and I will accomplish the rest through you. As you remain in that union, your words will no longer be merely yours. They will become the expression of what I am establishing. My beloved, do not fear the responsibility I have given you, for it is not a burden to strain under, but a sign of the promotion I have long prepared for you. As you walk in this role, you will see not only your life protected and expanded, but the space around you begin to change as well. Places that were once heavy will become light. Places that were once chaotic will be brought into order, not because you force control, but because the authority I have placed within you is at work. And then you will come to see that you are no longer living in a world where things happen at random. You are standing in a position where every word you speak, every decision you make, and every action you take can become a point of turning, not because you are the center, but because I am working through you. The Lord is near to all who call upon him. Psalm 145:18. And when you call in truth, I do not merely listen, I act. Therefore, continue forward, my beloved, with certainty yet humility, with alertness yet peace. Keep watch at the gate with faithfulness, and allow me to guide each of your steps. As you do, you will see that not only are you kept steady, but everything I have ordained around you is also being established in the light, a domain where life, safety, and wholeness can flourish without interruption. Beloved, from this point on, you no longer walk as one searching for what you lack, but as one who carries within what has already been given. This shift is not merely a feeling, it is a reality that reshapes the way you live each day. The one who is still searching stands outside, waiting for a sign. The one who carries authority steps in, because they know their position has already been established. The one who is still searching is easily shaken by doubt. The one who carries authority discerns, because they stand upon what has been spoken. The one who is still searching reacts to circumstances. The one who carries authority sets direction for them. He has made us a kingdom and priests to his God. Revelation 1:6. And so you are no longer on the edge of what I am doing. You have been placed within its flow. To live, to act, and to reflect what I am establishing. So, hold this as a mark engraved deeply within your spirit. one that cannot be erased by any circumstance. The decree has been issued. The door has been opened, and you have been prepared, not because you have reached a human standard of perfection, but because I have completed what was necessary to bring you into this season. What you once thought was lacking, I have supplied. What you once feared, I have already addressed. He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1:6. And so, what I have started in you will not be abandoned. It is moving toward fulfillment according to my appointed time. Remember Gideon, one who once hid in fear. Yet I called him a mighty man of valor before he could see it in himself. When he recognized that my word defined him, he no longer lived according to his old image. He stepped forward, not because all fear vanished at once, but because he chose to agree with what I had spoken. And from that agreement, a victory beyond expectation was established. In the same way, you do not need to wait until everything feels perfect in order to move. You move because I have spoken, and my word is a foundation strong enough for you to stand upon. Therefore, go, but not as before. Go with the awareness that you are carrying what has already been confirmed. Every step you take is no longer a hesitant search, but a movement into what has been prepared. Speak, but not as one who still wavers. When you speak in union with me, your words carry certainty, and that certainty has the power to shape reality. The mouth of the righteous speaks wisdom, Psalm 37:30. And so your words are no longer scattered sounds, but instruments through which I reveal my will. Live, but not as one still governed by what has passed. You live with the awareness that you carry within you a seal from heaven, a mark that cannot be dimmed by circumstance. When you live in that awareness, you will find that you no longer need to strive to prove anything. Your life itself will become the evidence. The doors that open will confirm what I have spoken. The streams of blessing that flow will testify to the position in which you stand, and the things that once caused you to doubt will gradually lose their voice. Beloved, my word is not spoken lightly. It is not released only to fade into emptiness. My word will not return to me void, but will accomplish what I desire. Isaiah 55:11. And so, what I have spoken over your life is moving into manifestation day by day. You may not yet see it in full, but you are living within a process whose outcome cannot be prevented. Beloved, step into each day, not as one still pulled back by the traces of the past, but as one sealed by me. That seal is not a passing feeling, nor something that can be erased by circumstance. It is a confirmation from heaven placed upon your soul, so that wherever you go, you carry an identity that cannot be altered. Do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Ephesians 4:30. And so, what you carry is not something you created, it is what I have placed within you, and no one can take it away. Therefore, you do not need to live as one, striving to prove your worth before others, or even before yourself. The one who does not know who they are must struggle for recognition. But the one who knows the seal they carry simply lives, and that life speaks. You do not need to argue to establish your place. You only need to remain in it. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree, planted in the house of the Lord. Psalm 92:12-13. And so your growth does not come from forced effort, but from being rightly positioned and remaining there. As you live in this awareness, you will begin to see confirmations that require no explanation. Doors will open not to surprise you, but to make clear what I have spoken. Streams of blessing will come not to elevate your pride, but to testify that you are standing where I have appointed. And, little by little, the voices that once stirred doubt within you will weaken, not because you silenced them by effort, but because they no longer have authority to speak. I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. Revelation 3:8. And so what I open does not need to be guarded by your anxiety. It is secured by my authority. Remember, John the Baptist, he did not need to exalt himself to be recognized. When he lived within his appointed role, the whole region came to him, not because he sought attention, but because he stood in the position I had ordained. He understood who he was and who he was not, and so his words carried weight without display. In the same way, when you live within the seal I have placed upon you, you will not need to strive to become something else. You need only to be who you are in me, and that will be enough to shift the atmosphere around you. Beloved, let your heart rest in this truth. You no longer have to fight to prove yourself. No longer have to fear being left behind. No longer have to question whether what I have spoken is real. You are living within it. Every step you take, every door that opens, every stream of blessing that flows, these are living confirmations that I am at work in your life. So continue to live, but live with a new awareness. Walk forward, but walk in deep peace. Let your life become evidence that requires no explanation, evidence that what I have spoken is true, is being fulfilled, and will continue until it is brought to completion in you. Beloved, as you begin to live with the awareness that you carry a seal that cannot be erased, your life will shift from a series of weary reactions into a steady flow of confirmation. You will no longer grope through the shadows of old memories, nor be pulled backward by voices that once caused you to doubt yourself. I have placed within you an identity that is not dependent on what you have experienced, but is built upon what I have spoken. And when that identity becomes clear, you will no longer live in pursuit of recognition. You will live from the recognition already given. You are a holy people to the Lord your God. He has chosen you. Deuteronomy 7:6. And so you no longer stand in uncertainty about who you are, but walk in the assurance that you have been named beforehand. From that place, you will begin to see a deep shift in how you perceive everything around you. What once caused you anxiety will no longer dominate your thoughts. What once made you hesitate will no longer hold authority over you. Not because circumstances suddenly become perfect, but because what is within you has been rightly established. When the inner is aligned, the outer will begin to follow. Guard your heart above all else, for from it flow the issues of life. Proverbs 4:23. And as your heart is kept in my truth, every current in your life will begin to reflect it. There will be doors that open before you without your knocking. Opportunities will come without your chasing them. Connections will form without carrying the exhaustion they once did. You will realize that you no longer need to strive to produce results. Results begin to come to you as you stand in the right place. This is not because you have become special in the way the world defines it, but because you have come into agreement with what I have established. The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Proverbs 10:22. And so what comes to you will not carry the burdens of the past, but will come with the lightness of what is right. Beloved, remember this: the transformation I am working within you is not a garment placed upon the outside, but a renewal that reaches down to the very roots. When the roots are healed, the tree will bear fruit in its proper season. When the foundation is set right, everything built upon it will stand firm. Therefore, do not rush to measure the process by what you can immediately see. There are things being formed deep within you that you cannot yet fully express, but they will reveal themselves outwardly in their appointed time. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Psalm 126:5. And so nothing you have gone through has been wasted. It is becoming the ground for the joy you are about to enter. And as you continue to walk in this awareness, you will find that your life itself becomes a testimony that needs no explanation. Others will see peace in you while they are still in turmoil. They will sense stability in you while they are still shaken, not because you strive to display anything, but because what I have placed within you is flowing outward naturally. Shine as lights in the world, Philippians 2:15. And so you do not need to seek ways to shine, you need only remain in me, and the light will extend on its own. Now, let your heart open more deeply, not in anxiety, but in trust, as you offer to me prayers that rise from within that trust. Let those words no longer be cries of lack, but expressions of union with what I am doing. Now, lift up to me the prayers of your heart, with sincerity and fullness. Almighty God, I come before you not as one searching for what I lack, but as one learning to recognize what has already been given. Open the eyes of my spirit so that I may see clearly the place you have set me in, that I may no longer walk in doubt, but in steady assurance. Quiet my heart before you, so that I am not carried away by the noise of the world, but can hear your gentle yet powerful voice within me. Loving Father, I bring before you the weaknesses I once tried to hide. Turn them into places where your power is revealed. Teach me to stand firm, not by my own strength, but through agreement with you. Help me not to return to old paths, but to move forward in the new light you have opened. Place within me a heart that is both soft and steadfast, able to listen and yet remain grounded in what you have spoken. Faithful God, I ask that you cleanse every thought within me that does not come from you. Remove every false voice that once caused me to doubt myself. Replace them with your truth, so that I may think, speak, and act from a renewed foundation. Grant me clear discernment to know what is from you and what is not, so that I will no longer be deceived by what imitates light. Keeper of my soul, establish every boundary in my life according to your will. Close the doors that are not from you, and open wide those you have prepared. Lead me to walk without hesitation when you guide, and to pause when you speak. Let my life become a clear stream, where everything that enters and leaves is governed by your presence. Merciful Father, I give you thanks that you did not abandon me in the days when I did not understand. I thank you that even in my weakness, you were working quietly to bring me to where I stand today. I thank you that what I once saw as loss has become the foundation of restoration, and that the tears I sowed are now preparing a harvest of joy. I also thank you for the doors that are opening before me, even if I do not yet see them fully. I thank you for the peace you have placed within my heart, a peace that does not depend on circumstances. I thank you that I no longer need to prove anything, for my life itself will become the evidence of your faithfulness. Beloved, rise from that place of prayer with a renewed heart. Do not return to former ways of thinking. Do not allow old doubts to reclaim their voice. Walk as one who has received, as one who has been affirmed, as one who carries a mark that cannot be erased. And as you continue to move forward, you will see that everything I have spoken is not merely word, it is becoming life within you. Day by day, step by step, until you realize that you are no longer only believing, you are living within what I have promised.